Hello YouTube, my name is Paul, hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back to another pickup video. And as promised, I'm going to go through my Ocean / Imagine software games I've picked up for the Amstrad CPC. Now these are all floppy disk games, because I've chose to go sort of down that route really. I don't collect cassette games for the Amstrad, I do that for the Sinclair Spectrum. Now I would love to go for a sort of +3 set, but that is a really expensive and a really difficult set to go for. Especially for Ocean games on floppy disk. They just don't come up very often, and when they do, they can go for a lot of money. Whereas the Amstrad games are more readily available, especially in places like France, and they don't cost a lot of money, to be honest. Another reason I've gone for the CPC Disk games for Ocean software is because Ocean did make an effort to make their games specific for each machine. Now, whilst testing a few of these games out, there's quite a few of them actually that aren't. They're literally straight port overs from the Sinclair Spectrum using their higher resolution and in 4 colours, and when they do that it tends to slow the game down on the Amstrad, so it's probably a weaker equivalent to the Sinclair Spectrum. But when they do it right, which is great. So yeah, most of these games are Ocean software, only a handful of them are Imagine software, and the first one is from Imagine. It's one of the finer driving games to grace the Amstrad CPC, and that's Wrestlemania Le Mans. This one only set me back about £1.40. Obviously post on top of that as well, so you look at that £5. But there you go, so a cracking arcade conversion on the Amstrad, and to be honest with you, it might pain me to say this, but it is better than the Spectrum version. The Spectrum version was really good. A game I beat earlier in the year for the first time in 30 years. I remember the ending before, but I'm pretty sure I cheated. But this version I find a bit more difficult, but it does look better, to be completely honest. There's not much in the box. You've got the instructions, you've got the floppy disk. But it is missing the sticker which comes with it. But yeah, there's quite a lot of sun fading to the box, as you can probably see. That's the reason why it was nice and cheap. So I will be looking for an upgrade to this game. Highly recommend it though, one of the better driving games on the CPC. Incidentally, it was developed by the same guys who bought your Chase HQ on the CPC as well. And indeed on the Sinclair Spectrum. Right, next up is a replacement. This is one of those games which was ported over from the Sinclair Spectrum. It plays just as well though, it's slightly slower. That's Rambo 3. I bought this game back in the day, again around 30 years ago. And I quite enjoyed it. There's different kind of elements to the game. There's a bit that is similar to Operation Wolf right towards the end. But the initial stages are the sort of levels you go around trying to find objects to get other objects to work. Again, it's in lovely condition. And the version I sold didn't work, and I think I got about 30 quid for it, which is a bit mental. This one probably cost me only about 10 quid. Comes with its instructions, floppy disk, as you would expect. But yeah, it's a decent game. I liked it. I did complete it with a cheat again back in the day. It's one of those games you drew maps, because obviously you didn't know the objects are always in the same place, but you had to draw maps trying to remember where the hell they were, because some of the levels are rather large. And say there's 100 screens in the first level, it's about 10-15 screens actually had objects in them. So yeah, you could end up spending bloody ages wandering around doing sod all. That's the only big drawback with the game really. You can do it stealthily, you can walk around without firing a shot or use your bow and arrow or knife. Obviously if you want to be loud, the guys will chase you around the flipping map. Makes it a bit more difficult. Right, next up is probably one of the worst Ocean film tie-in games I've ever played. That's Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Again, I tried to play this recently on the Spectrum. The Amstrad version is different in the way it looks, so that's one positive I suppose. In the more blockier sort of mode 0. But again, this game is sort of in different stages. You've got 3 stages where I think you fight the T-1000. It might even be 4 stages. You do exactly the same thing. All the only difference is the background. You either punch, kick or headbutt. There's a couple of driving sequences which are rock hard, so unless you actually cheat or go on YouTube and actually find out how they do the levels, you'll never get off it. Because if you followed the path set out by the actual game, you'll die within seconds. It's a brutally hard game. But yeah, if you actually look at YouTube videos and work out how to do it, it's probably quite an easy game to be honest. But yeah, you'd never thought that back in the day. So for example, the driving level, the second level, you stay on the right hand side and just stay there, don't move. You get hit a few times, but you pick up energy as you go up, so kind of balances out in the end, you survive. But if you actually go and take the route, you're a dead man. But again, that was next to nothing in price as well, maybe a tenner at most. I'll probably overpay for that game because, like I said, these games don't come up very often. Next up is a wrestling game, WWF Wrestlemania. Again, a game I'm not likely to play. I'm not really into wrestling games, even these very early ones. They're very slow, very sluggish. This one comes with a free gift. Or maybe it doesn't. Yeah, it's supposed to get some pin badges. I think the Spectrum version I got has got the pin badges, but this one unfortunately doesn't. Again, this was quite reasonably priced. It's a little bit, I don't know, I can't really explain. It looks like it's been in a smoking environment. I don't really know, to be honest, because it's got a bit of a brown tinge to it. Doesn't smell of cigarettes, or not like badly, but I could do with replacing this one as well. But yeah, again, a game that was developed by Twilight, which Ocean Software used quite a lot in the later years. Games like, I think Plasmic were done by Twilight. Wrestlemania, I think it was at least about half a dozen games. But yeah, not really one I'm going to play. Well, next up is another game I haven't really played. I played it for a little bit whilst making this video. Couldn't make head nor tail of it. And that is the Simpsons, Bart versus the Space Mutants. Unfortunately, the box is a little bit concave on the top. But again, quite a reasonably priced game. And this one actually has a free gift inside as well, which is cool. But I've never really gotten into it, I've got to be honest. Comes with a little badge. But I played it for a bit, jumped around, jumped over a few enemies, and that was me done, I think. It didn't really appeal to me at all. I remember it coming out on the Amiga, and it didn't really appeal to me then either. But yeah, another reasonably priced game. At least it's complete. Next up is... Now this game is a straight port over from the Spectrum, and I tell you what, it's bloody slow. And it's got no music either in-game, which the Spectrum one is, which has, and the Spectrum version is better. That's Bruce Willis, Hudson Hawk. A game I can play, probably get to about 2 or 3 levels in. But it's quite tricky. Yeah, the Amstrad version is very, very slow, which is a shame really. It's done by Special Effects, who are renowned for their quality really on the 8-bit systems, and indeed the 16-bit systems. It comes with a baggy disc and instructions. Again, quite reasonably priced. The Spectrum version can go for more on cassette than the disc version can on the Amstrad. But yeah, I quite like the game, but on the Spectrum, the Amstrad version is just too slow. Right, next up is Adidas Tiebreak, Adidas Championship Tiebreak. Tennis game, which I'm absolutely crap at. I've only ever played it once. Did not get very far at all, as you can probably see from the gameplay footage in a minute. But yeah, it's a decent game to get. I'd love to get Adidas Championship Football, which seems to be a really difficult game to find on the Amstrad. So I'm not actually sure if it was released in the UK. I've only ever seen Adidas Championship Football in Spain. But yeah, so a nice little game. Nice to have it in the collection. Again, quite reasonably priced. I think this one cost me about 10, 11 quid. But it doesn't come up very often, that one. It's quite a difficult one to get. Right, next. I'm saving all the best games to last. All the games I like anyway. So next up is Plasmic. Now I picked this one up. I think I offered the guy £7.50 for it. He refused. I offered him a fiver, then £7.50. He refused them both. I think I'd end up winning it for £3, I think. That's Plasmic, but I've had to change the box for it because the box I had from the seller is absolutely tatty as hell. I mean, the 2 boxes side by side, you can probably tell the one on the right hand side here is far better. So yeah, I had to buy a replacement box. It is the cassette box. I'm in 2 minds whether to take the sticker off of the original box and just put it on top of this one. I've kept both boxes anyway, because I don't really like to do that. A bit fussy when it comes to things like that. Feels like I'm cheating. Comes in a baggie and the instructions. Good game, good puzzle game this one, and the Amstrad version again looks completely different to the Spectrum version, as looks like it's been redrawn specifically for the system. Again, that one I think ended up costing me £3.50, but I had to buy the cassette version, which was £4. So yeah, more like about 10 quid once I paid all the postage costs as well. Now the next 4 games I'd have had all on the Atari ST back in the day, but the Amstrad versions are actually pretty good. The first one is the Untouchables, which again, another special effects game which was ported over from the Spectrum. Because I got off the first level quite easily, but the second level on the bridge is so slow, it's unbelievable. And it's in high resolution again with the 4 colours. It's a shame really, because it's a cracking game on the 16 bits. Spectrum version is brutally hard, but I've never got off the first level. I got to about 90% of the evidence I needed, but I never got off of it, so I couldn't tell if the bridge was any quicker or not. I should check some YouTube footage really to find out, but yeah, unfortunately, it played like a pig. But again, another reasonably priced game, about 5 or 6 quid, in nice condition as well. But yeah, I'm not sure why I start these Ocean collections, because once you start, it's difficult to stop. I was actually contemplating going for a Hit Squad collection as well, but I've got to stop at some point, really have. I may do it one day, but at the moment it's something I'm not going to do. So there's 4 games left, 3 more that I had on the ST. The next one is going to be Batman the Movie, which I've also got on a GX4000. I think the cassette version is slightly better than the GX4000 version. Obviously on floppy disk you don't have to worry about all the loading either, because it loads pretty quick. Looks like the back of the box there's a little discoloured. Again, you can see it versus the side. A game I can't beat on the 8 bits. I can beat both 16-bit versions, but the 8 bits I tend to get stuck on the what was it, the flipping Batarang level 4 I think it is, or level 5, level 4 I think. But again, comes with baggy instructions and disc. Another quite reasonably priced game. Unfortunately with these sort of black box games, it shows up every sort of dink really and scratch you can think of. It's a good game on the Amstrad. It's again made independently of the Sinclair Spectrum. It's not a straight port, and plays alright to be honest. It's not my favourite version of the game. I do prefer the Spectrum version again because it is faster, especially the driving level. Even it looks better on the Amstrad. It just doesn't play as well. Operation Thunderbolt, really good conversion on the Amstrad, I've got to say. It moves just as quickly as it does on the Spectrum, but obviously it's in colour, which is an added bonus really. Again, a game I've got on the GX4000. But yeah, so I would recommend this game. It's amazing how many sprites are on screen and how quick it moves. It's quite surprising for an 8-bit game. And to be honest with you, it's a cracker. I really do like this game on this computer. Probably more so than the Sinclair Spectrum. So a few games here I think are better than the Spectrum version, but not many. Especially the ones that got ported over, they're terrible. Or terribly slow, I should say. Right, next up is probably arguably the finest arcade conversion by Ocean Software on the Amstrad. Again, developed differently to the Spectrum version. But I noticed the Spectrum version has got music. The Amstrad version doesn't. And the Spectrum version, if you have them side by side, is faster. Which is always an important factor when you're looking at arcade conversions. But yeah, disc and instructions. This one I had to get from France. This was more like about 20 quid. So I've bid on one before in the UK and it went for £27. Which I wasn't expecting that at all. But obviously it's a sought after game because it is that good. But I can't imagine it being overly difficult to get. I think I've seen about 3 or 4 copies of this. But it does kind of command a decent price. But yeah, last but not least is probably the game I most... Well, I suppose it's a game I've been looking forward to getting for quite some time, and that's Game Over. This one cost me near 40 quid. Again, a very tough game. I've never really played it for more than sort of 10 minutes. The sleeve has got a little bit of water damage, unfortunately. Luckily enough, I think it comes with its instructions. Then again, it might not. Let's have a quick look. No, it don't. It's got no instructions. So yeah, I'll see if I can find the instructions for this on a cassette version. Hoping the cassette version is multi-format and not specific to the Amstrad disc, which does happen. It can be a pain in the arse. But this one did set me back quite a bit. I got this and Chase HQ at the same time, from the same seller from France. So yeah, I almost had Total Recall until the guy he couldn't find it. I think he had a buy it now on it for about 15 quid. I bought it and then he messaged me saying he couldn't find it, which is unfortunate because that's quite a difficult one to find. But yeah, there's many games still to get, even though I've now got probably, like I said, 50-60 games. I mean, there's some of those slim box games I'm after, like Dave Thompson's Super Test. I've never seen, is it called Take Two? I don't know what it's called now. I think it's called Double Take. That's nearly right. Double Take may have come out on a slim box. Never Ending Story I've seen on a slim box. But it may be sort of 4 or 5 others. I really don't know what came out on disc. Some later games, obviously Adidas Championship Football, Space Gun, Midnight Resistance, Shadow Warriors. There's a few like that which I don't have. Mario Brothers, that came out on disc as well, which probably cost quite a bit of money. But yeah, it's quite a few games I'm after. I will keep my eyes open. But that's it, there's nothing else to show you for the Amstrad. I'm now caught up. And next will be the Sinclair Spectrum, which will probably be over a couple of videos. I've got some nice, or a nice Spectrum edition. One that was quite cheap, considering how it usually goes for a lot of money. So yeah, another game. I've got, again, another game similar to it on the Commodore 64 and cartridge. But yeah, so I'll do the Spectrum next, followed by ST, Amiga, PlayStation, and hopefully I'll be up to date. Well, thank you very much for watching the video. I'm sure it was a bit short, but I can't really say too much about games that I've already picked up in the past for the Sinclair Spectrum. But thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing. I'll see you again real soon. Take care, and bye for now.